Should you play Path of Exile in 2021? In this video I will share my casual opinion on the state of the game, how it compares to Diablo and if you should play Path of Exile right now, and the best spec for beginners, newbies, people who have played millions of years ago and do not know exactly what they're doing anymore, or complete new beginners. So these are the two main things we'll be talking about in this video. If you are impatient and all you want to hear is the actual build that I'm proposing for newbies, please use the timeline. Please use the timeline in the video, and please check out the timestamps in the description if that's your thing, so jump straight to that chapter of the video. But if you want to hear my casual introduction and opinion about the state of the game, just keep watching. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel everyone, Gyro here, playing Path of Exile, Path of Exile 1. We were talking about the reveals of Path of Exile 2 very recently in a recent video. If you missed it, please watch it, you might hear something new and there will be a lot of other kind of thoughts shared with you about my thoughts about how the game lines up against Diablo 4 even, yeah? But we are talking about the current state of the game today, if you should play it in 2021. Short version of it is, yes you should, it's a fantastic game. Now, longer version. So, Path of Exile might appear a bit dated as far as graphics primarily is concerned if you are comparing it right now to things like Diablo 3. But it is far from being bad in my opinion, and you will get used to the particulars of the graphics very quickly. Also, subjectively and arguably, I would say to you that it looks, in my opinion, better than Diablo 2 remastered or resurrected, whatever it's called anyway. So, you know, at least Path of Exile is true isometric 3D. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, and not just pimped up and recolored 2D version of the game that Blizzard is trying to sell us right now as Diablo 2 remastered. I'm not trying to pick a fight with anyone, I'm a fan of both games, but this is just my honest opinion as far as some words to be said to support the value of Path of Exile. Plus, Path of Exile, let's not forget, is a free game. That counts for something. And it's not pay to win. You pay for things there and they cost quite a bit, but they are literal, pure cosmetics in the shop. And that is the only thing that's been supporting the game for years. I think it's a wonderful product. It has good story with some twists and turns as well. Look, it's hard to compare one-to-one to, let's say, Diablo, if we stick to this main kind of comparison, but the story is okay, and if you haven't played Path of Exile, I think you are robbing yourself of a free, wonderful experience that's waiting for you there. I think you will enjoy it. Most importantly, Path of Exile is known for massive character build possibilities, and this is both a good and a bad thing. Path of Exile is famous for its really huge and extensive passive skill tree. It is truly massive, and it is truly intimidating. I personally think that this is actually very awesome and refreshing compared to majority of the games that have been simplifying their interfaces and choices that they give to the players, just kind of, well, for the sake of accessibility. And normally I would absolutely promote accessibility and I would love that. But look, I think that Path of Exile is offering something else. It's offering, you know, opportunity for exploration, excitement, and just builds that no one has ever seen before. Completely OP combinations and stuff like that. And as I said to you at the beginning of this video, in this video I'll be offering you something that will be a very basic build, or at the very least a direction. It's going to be a vector for you, because the build is going to go for a long time as you gain levels in this game. But if I give you the right direction and set you off on the right path, this build will take care of itself, trust me. Let's jump into the build. I recommend that you roll a witch and go with my favorite, Gyro's lazy summoner build. Just follow the quests and use the items with blue sockets in them, prioritizing intellect and blue, obviously, spell gems for now. In Path of Exile, abilities come from gems. You pick up gems, you stick it into one of the sockets of the same color in your gear, and that ability becomes available on your bars. Then you configure it, you modify it. There are spell gems and there are support gems. This is probably basic ground level of any guide for Path of Exile. That's how abilities appear on your bars, and that's very important to understand. After doing those first kind of few quests, maybe first 2 or 3, really early scratching the surface of the game, you will get a quest reward gem and pick the one. So you will have some choices, right? So just mouse over, take a look at them, and pick the one that summons zombies. They are not amazing to start with, but this is a start of your lazy summoner build. This differentiates a witch that is just a spellcaster, you know, fire flinger, whatever, to the summoner. So we're gonna be heading towards summoner. Also, I will point out to you here that when you press P key on the keyboard and open the passive skill tree, you can zoom it in, you can zoom it out, you can pan it. So, you know, you start from the center and you will obviously have to select a path of those nodes, yeah? So what I recommend that you do, well, first of all, follow what I'm showing on the screen, but it's only a vector, it's only a start of your build. That's all we're doing here today. But in the search bar at the very top of the passive skill tree, type in the word minion. And this will obviously do a search across the whole field of all these different nodes, numerous nodes, and it will highlight to you, it will start kind of flashing a little bit, the nodes that have something to do with your summons, with your minions basically, yeah? And this alone would already hopefully make it a tiny bit less intimidating. So you will have to see which clusters of the nodes, especially the big ones, obviously do more for your minions, and you can mouse over, spend a little bit of time and read about it. And follow what I'm doing here, where I'm headed with this path, and at the same time create a further path for yourself based, even if nothing else, but just based on that minion keyword, because you will be basically boosting minions and your survivability in the meantime as you go. That's about it. That's as far as lazy summoner build kind of philosophy goes, yeah? After doing another few quests, not that many, but maybe a few more ahead, following the main campaign, for the lack of a better word, you will get another quest reward, a selection of spells, of gems, and one of them will be called Raging Spirit. It will be another blue gem. You need to take it. Somewhere there in between, I can't remember exactly, you will also get a support gem. It's called a support gem. It's the one that summons phantasms. Phantasms, if you pay attention, and there are not that many quests that give you reward gems, maybe 3, maybe 4, you know, in the early game, you will see. So you need zombies, you need Raging Spirit, and you need phantasms. Find an item, wand, anything else, with 2, at the very least, 2 blue linked sockets. Put the Raging Spirit into the first one and the Phantasm support into the second one, obviously. So whenever Raging Spirit will be doing damage, whenever you will be summoning Raging Spirit, and you'll be summoning it a lot, Phantasms will have a chance to spawn, and there'll be a ton of them. So that will be your army of those summons, and that will turn you into a true summoner. You'll start actually having a lot of fun and start seeing what I have in mind. It will start forming into a fairly lazy summoner build that kind of takes care of itself the stronger you get and the more summons you have. This power combo will carry you through on this semi-autopilot until the end of Act 1, by which you'd figure out a thing or two for yourself, and that's when you will get a gem, another reward, a gem that summons skeletons. Skeletons hit hard, they are a little more, you know, passive, so you need to summon them inside of the group of the enemies in order for them to do the most damage. Just take a look at the footage in the background as it's shown to you. But at that point you will become a real summoner. That's not all the summons that exist there in the game, but I'm only giving you a vector for the early game and advice for beginner-friendly build. You'll have zombies, you'll have skeletons, you'll have phantasms, you'll have raging spirits everywhere. And if you've been following the right nodes in your passive skill tree and we're taking the bigger cluster nodes, the ones that I have in mind, my selections, a couple of them at the very least are going to, one is going to increase the number of skeletons and zombies, for example, that you can have. That's great. Another one is going to give your raging spirits and phantasms a chance to extend their own duration because they're temporary summons, yeah? 5% extent of their duration upon doing damage, and they'll be doing damage a lot. So those kind of things give you an idea of just how powerful you can make your character going forward. Why do I like this build unless it's already obvious, and why do I recommend it to you so much? Well, look, it is obvious, yeah, because it's casual and it's very, very noob friendly. Because you don't need to do much or display any particular battlefield awareness, for example. You will just keep your permanent summons, skeletons and zombies, once you get them, at maximum allowed numbers, yeah, and then you will find something heavy and put it on the key that you bound to button that summons your raging spirits. That's about it. Stay back and see how those autopiloted things just murder everything, okay? I personally love it because they're literally self-guiding missiles. They literally just fly around, just summon them, they get summoned at a fast speed. Make sure you don't get hurt. I also took, as an additional kind of gem that I took at some point, I took teleport. I don't even use it that much, but it's early game, there is no threat really there. But if you want to get out of dodge, use teleport. Otherwise, just make sure you summon a ton of raging spirits. They in turn will summon phantasms. If you could also find another kind of a third blue gem that is also linked to phantasms and raging spirits, you could also use another gem that you will inevitably come across, and it will be the one that is supporting minions and it's increasing their damage. Wonderful. So that's all you're going to be doing. You're going to be choosing summon spells and boosting their potency. And that's it as far as the basic guide and direction for starting Path of Exile in 2021 is concerned. Once again, I think it absolutely is worth your while. I love Diablo, I publish videos about it, there is another guide about Diablo classes coming for my Diablo crowd, but people are diversifying, they're looking to spend their time wisely, for the lack of a better word, having fun in the games, making sure that we are not wasting our time in a kind of slog-like environments, you know. I don't blame people who still have fun in World of Warcraft, for example, but I don't. So I stopped bashing it, I'm offering people something else, and hopefully a lot of you hear me for what it is, you know. So I am enjoying playing Path of Exile even now, before the major expansion Ultimatum releases. And like I said, I will reroll on the 16th of April. Maybe not the same Summoner Witch, but maybe some other class when the season starts. We're going to talk about it probably more then, especially if you're interested. The best way for you to tell me that you're interested is to like the video right now. It takes you only 1 second. Takes me a lot longer to record this video for you, and leave a comment if you feel particularly passionate or particularly have something to say about this. Wonderful, I welcome all comments, and I would like to see that people want this content. It helps me prioritize it. Hopefully this helps you out. Like I said, questions are most welcome. Keep in mind that, as with most of other games that I play, I already said, I am not a pro. I don't pretend to be a pro. There is just so much to Path of Exile that I would dare say it's almost like science if it's taken too seriously, and there are some very seriously involved content creators out there. So this is not said to send you away, because I hope that my guides, my advice stands on its own for what it is: light touch introductions, light touch sharing of the fun. And if you are one of those people who appreciates it, once again, you're most welcome to stay. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll be speaking with you again in a couple of days' time about something ARPG related, most likely. Playing a few games right now. Hopefully you are too. See you later. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll be speaking with you soon again. Bye bye.